Is it time for some doom and gloom after one preseason game for the Seattle Seahawks? Hello, 12s. Welcome to episode 264 of Seahawks Now. I'm Aaron Coe. This is where we dive into the news and analysis of everything Seattle Seahawks, your Super Bowl 60 champions. Huge shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. And also make sure you like and subscribe to this podcast. We're at 789 followers as we strive to get to 1,000. It is free to you, but priceless to us to hit that button. So thank you to everybody who is doing that. Also, follow me on X at Coe_Aaron. That's COE_AARON. Who knows? Could have an announcement soon. You never know. Okay. And again, hey, thanks for making us a part of your every weekday. All right. It is the modern preseason, folks. I know I'm a podcaster and I'm supposed to have a strong opinion about everything. Worst game ever. This is the best game ever. But I'm just not going to do that. It's the preseason. I watched it because it's my team. I'm going to watch it. But yeah, I didn't see like a ton to totally freak out about either way. So just kind of going through. The main thing is, look, people just don't really play much in the preseason anymore. So there were 56 offensive snaps. I think I forgot to put down the number, but I think Elijah Arroyo had about 25 or so. Brady Russell had 8. George Holani had 27. So those are guys who could actually play a role this season. Brady Russell certainly will. Arroyo certainly will. And Holani, at least early on, will and could throughout the season too. We hope Drew Lock doesn't play a role because that means that something would happen to Sam Darnold. But he had 26 snaps. Looked like a good backup quarterback, which is what he is. Jalen Milroe played 30. Looked like a college quarterback. We'll get into that later on. I know some of y'all love Milroe. I'm going to talk about that more next episode. We'll give him one night's reprieve. And then, so 66 defensive snaps because they couldn't get off the field on third down and couldn't sustain drives on offense. The Cowboys had more offensive snaps. So Tyrese Knight had 27 snaps, looked very good. But remember, they were facing Sam Howell. Remember him? Not very good. Bud Clark, who you hope plays a pretty big role in a safety spot, gets 45. Riley Mills, who we think could rotate in on the line, gets 22. Nehemiah Pritchett, who I thought a week ago might be the starter at one of the corner spots, but now we're not so sure. We'll talk about that next episode also in greater detail. I think the takeaway is, it's easy to freak out about new offensive coordinator Brian Fleury after the offense scored only 7 points, but I'm not going to really have much of a reaction about it, to be honest with you, until they're playing the New England Patriots in the season opener. And if they score points then, we're all good. If they don't, then there will be panic in the streets, at least in front of my house. And it'll probably just be me, but you get the idea. But yeah, that first drive looked pretty good. 7 minutes and 17 seconds, and it was a touchdown drive. Just wasn't anything really after that. And a lot of that had to do with the backup offensive line just really not looking very good. So that was a big part of the problem there. Really tough to watch at times, that going on. Just sloppy, undisciplined, a lot of poor play from all the backups, although I thought Josh Jones looked pretty good. Bo Stevens had a few good plays, but some really bad plays. He's, again, the rookie guard. Josh Jones, again, he's a veteran. He's been around. He played a key role last season when Charles Cross was out for a few games. You need that offensive line to stay healthy to get back to the Super Bowl. I think it's very clear. I will say that's my if I have a big reaction, I'd be real concerned if anyone went down for a long period of time because I don't like the depth there a whole lot. I like Josh Jones. And I think if you have to replace a guard, you'll with a Christian Haynes or Bo Stevens for a short period, you can work that out and be okay there. But yeah, anything beyond that, I get real concerned about it. Okay, so before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will the Seahawks win the Super Bowl this season? Seattle is currently trading at an 8% probability, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $1,174.37 if they take home the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHFOOTBALL to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. So, speaking of probabilities, by the way, hammer that Seahawks Super Bowl bet. That's wild. Those numbers are wild. So stock up and stock down. So whose probabilities are going up and whose probabilities are going down? I didn't even do this on purpose with a new ad there. So I thought Tyrese Knight showed a lot of promise 2 years ago as a rookie, and then kind of got bumped out last year by a couple of really good linebackers. He's a very good backup linebacker and a capable starter. I know some have suggested should they trade him because you might be able to get something for him, either a draft pick if you wanted to move up in the last draft or this next one, or for another player. But to me, you got to have guys like that on your team that can come in and help you out. And he's a guy that can. It's a really good football player that could help this team. And I thought he really looked good in this game. Again, you're playing against the Cowboys backups. They're playing their backups too. So, but he has shown that he can play, and he looked really good in that game in particular. Montorie Foster, I talked a lot about him last week. He scored the opening drive touchdown. He had 5 catches, and he's showing me that he can play in this league. And he's certainly, worst case scenario, going to be on a practice squad. And the Seahawks might want to be careful because he might be a guy that a team claims to their active roster when the roster cut down comes along. So, really looks like he can play again. Don't want to get too high on the guy. It's the preseason. He wasn't exactly going against Devin Witherspoon out there. But he has shown in practice that he can play football, and he showed in this game that he belongs. So, again, I don't know. It's a numbers crunch to make the opening day roster. He's got to do it on special teams to earn that spot for sure. But he's certainly got a spot in this league somewhere for years to come, in my opinion. Special teams, we had Jared Ivey and Brady Russell, a big stuff on special teams. Rashad Rochelle with a 52-yard return. Special teams, I think, again, is going to be a real strength of this team. We don't talk about that enough as why they won the Super Bowl, but they were just rock solid in every aspect. You got the best punter in the league. You had a kind of a historic season and a historic Super Bowl by your kicker. And then just the coverage units were outstanding. And they're showing that again. I would say that they're all backups, but usually special teams is a lot of backups anyway. So those were a lot of the guys that you'll see out there. Maybe not the returners as much, but the coverage units and things like that. So encouraged to see that, because sometimes when a team wins a Super Bowl, that can be something that goes away. You start losing that depth, and that can hurt you on special teams. But the Seahawks were able to keep pretty much all of their guys coming back. So looking really good there. So as far as stock down goes, I don't have a whole lot of negativity here, because these guys are backups, and a lot of these guys are not going to make the team. You got 90 people on the roster now, and 53 of them will be on the active roster. You're going to try to keep 15 or 17 for the practice squad. So you probably had, I don't know how many people played in the game. I'll have to count that up again. But so you had at least 20 guys who are going to be in a different career possibly in a few weeks here. And then you had 17 guys out there perhaps who aren't going to be on an active roster right away, and they're going to have to earn that next step up. So, and then you had no starters really playing. Again, I mentioned the ones who might play some sort of role, but you had no one I expect to start if everyone's healthy. So that takes 22 offensive and defensive players out. So you kind of had, if you look at it, just not a ton of guys. So anyway, my point being, as I'm rambling on about nothing here, that hey, some of these guys are either really new and we shouldn't be too tough on them right out of the gate. But yeah, Shamar Jean Charles penalty and head turned around on that 39-yard TD throw from Sam Howell to Camden Brown. We remember Sam Howell. He's not exactly a guy that's going to carve up the league, I don't think. So yeah, just not the best game by him. And then Bo Stevens, he had a early on when he was in, he had a pretty good play, a nice block to spring. I forget who the running back is, sorry, but he was in there for 30 snaps. And yeah, he's not going anywhere near Anthony Bradford anytime soon. I know some people don't want to hear that because there's a lot of haters out there for Anthony Bradford. But Bo Stevens has got a long way to go to supplant Anthony Bradford. And maybe Anthony Bradford walks away in free agency after this season, and maybe Bo Stevens is ready next year. But he's not ready right now. I think he's pretty far behind Christian Haynes even right now as far as being anywhere near getting in the lineup. So yeah, I want to see more out of him. And hey, it was his first preseason game. So there's probably a lot more in the tank there. But yeah, we need to see it to think that he has a chance of being a starter in this league anytime soon. So a couple things that I'm not going to get to today because I really just wanted to kind of focus on the preseason game since they played. Yeah, they played an actual football game, folks. I should have mentioned that at the top. We saw some actual football, and even though it wasn't guys that we're going to see play much during the season, we did see the Seahawks line up and take snaps and throw footballs and make tackles and things like that. So very exciting because we're closing in here on the regular season, just a little over 3 weeks away now, if my math is correct on that. So very, very cool. And then, yeah, so we'll talk about Devin Witherspoon getting the big extension. I told you guys they were going to sign him before the season started, and that I think I thought too much that they were saving it for Hard Knocks. I don't think that's the case, but I know Hard Knocks will be very excited to show that, and I'm assuming it'll be on Tuesday's episode, some reactions, so that'll be very cool to see that. I imagine Witherspoon was pretty emotional about it. So, and then we'll talk about Terrion Arnold. Again, it looks like the Seahawks are going to sign him, so we got to talk more about him because I can't go an episode without talking about him for whatever reason right now. So that's where we are at with that. We got one preseason game in the books, a couple more to go. And then it's go time to see if this team can get back to the Super Bowl. Very exciting time. Really thrilled to be covering this season. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you everybody. And remember to check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hit all the likes and subscribes and reviews and all those sorts of things. We truly appreciate it. Leave a comment too. I'd love to respond to those. Got a bunch of comments about Milroe in particular that I'm gonna respond to on the next episode also. Very polarizing player. Some of y'all really like Milroe a lot. Can you guess which direction I'm going there? All right, everybody, enough goofing around here for today. I truly appreciate you checking us out, and go Hawks.